Well, looking at gold here for next week, you can see it is officially bearish now. It's crossed over this moving average. You can see lower lows, lower highs. Broke this low here recently, last week. Had, let's see, all 5 days last week bearish. So I do think the bear movement is going to continue. There's a zone right here. So that's going to be the first zone we have in mind for a target as far as its downwards movement. I think yeah, because this candle closed so full on Friday, I don't think it's going to stop. So you can see bearish engulfing on the weekly. This is our zone. If you drag it across, becomes, you know, resistance becomes support. So this zone is obviously significant, right around about 1810. So we're going to put that in right now. 1810 is a price that I have in mind. Our gold weekly movement last week was a big week. It moved 80 bucks, but usually it moves about 45. So anywhere from 40 to 50 bucks, it'll probably move next week. Beginning of the month, could be a lot, could be a little. It really just depends. But I do think it's going to continue down. So figuring out our weekly range. I mean, if it opened right now at the price that it closed, this is your $40 range. So therefore that could be your entire week, is just when price opens and then targeting, you know, this zone for next week. To be honest, that's probably as much as it's really going to move. And then I'm looking for a bounce at that area. So when that happens, so it'll probably be after next week, but something like this, and then it pulls back up to this area here upon hitting this 1810 area. So something like that I think will play out next month. Gold does move about $110 to $120 a month right now. So if this gives us our first 40, you know, 30 to 40, probably about 40 to 50 bucks down, and then up another like 70 from here, 70 up. Oh, I guess that won't give us the full. It's got to be 70 from here. So yeah, you're looking back to like 1920 for this full range. It's about 1810 to 1920 for next month. So don't know if it'll actually hit 1920, because that would be taking out this zone. It would actually be breaking this moving average. So that's pretty unlikely. Odds are what'll happen, it'll be something like this, and it'll continue down. So, but as far as next week, that's really our main concern, is the movement next week. Is it just moving down to 1810? So based on how price closed and how price really moved last week, I mean, we might get a bit of a pullback to begin with. Although Friday did close really strong still, so there's not really any signs of a pullback. I would probably wait for one for an entry, but that's just usually what I do. I don't really see one coming, so I think your safest bet would be, I mean, the risk to reward's not really there, so I don't really know if there's a trade on gold as of yet for next week. I mean, I would have to wait and find a pullback, because I just don't see the risk to reward. I mean, this is the only zone that's really saving us right now. So ideally, you know, price comes back up, hits this zone, sells off, but this momentum and the way price, you know, moved last week, you can just see 5 bear days. There's no sign of letting up, even on the 4 hour, the 1 hour time frame. I mean, the candles flattened out a little bit, but it was Friday, so it's really not much. Would like price to come back up and test, you know, even this area. So this is actually not a bad position. So if you look at this, I mean, this zone's not really, I'd have to tighten it up probably right here, to be honest, would be your best bet. Get a retrace in at least this 1 hour segment, and then look for a short position here targeting that 1810 area for the week. Something like this is what I would be focused on for the entire week. We got Friday here, so this would be kind of the trade that I'd have in mind for next week. Might have to adjust it accordingly as it sets up, if it sets up. But I like to wait. I want to wait for a bit of a pullback, just because For 5 days straight, there was no pullback at all. No bull momentum, no retracement, nothing. So ideally coming into this zone, but there is this 1 hour mini zone here that, you know, price, you can see respected here and then broke. So if we could just retest this, something like this, then, you know, we could enter that. Keep our stop above this previous candle here. Make sure that the liquidity dies down after it hits this zone. Make sure it does start to sell off and price wants to continue down. And then that's our weekly trade. So roughly 4 to 5 risk to reward. You know, as long as everything sets up, you can see, you know, it'd be nice if price comes up, test this moving average. Moving average is still pretty far away, so I don't know if it would, but it would definitely test this 30-minute moving average. But it really just depends. I mean, if the week starts off slow, then all these moving averages will catch up. So that could happen as well. And then I think 1810 is definitely, this is going to be our zone 2 target, and then look for a pullback after that. You can just see how many times it's respected this zone. And it's pretty close to 1800 even, so price does love whole numbers. So that could also, between 1810 and 1800, I think we'll get a good bounce. And I do think there's a lot of momentum going into it. You can see it's just been straight down. And you know, this weekly candle, super bearish engulfing. So my goal is just to wait for a bit of a pullback of some sort. I need something. I need price to come back up a bit, and then I need it to retest an area and sell off. I need it to show that it tried to go back up and couldn't, and then therefore we're going back down to 1810. Just because, I mean, like, you could enter upon market open essentially. I mean, I would wait a few hours for spreads to go down, but you know, like, the momentum seems to be here. There's no signs of a pullback yet. So, but again, that means it could be coming. So if you enter the short position upon market opening, let's say 1848, and you get that pullback, I mean, the most it's probably going to pull back is 1968, so it might pull back 20 bucks on you before going 38 more down, but I just wouldn't want that. And then another thing is, I mean, if we got in our position at roughly 1867 here, that's about $57 of movement from 67 down to 1810 here, which is within the weekly range. I mean, it's a little bit high, but like I said, this week that I just moved was 80 bucks, so it could totally do that. It's definitely within reason. I do think this 1810 zone is a definite possibility for next week, given momentum and range. Totally possible, but then definitely expect some sort of pullback at this point. Could be a full pullback of this movement, which would probably be very likely before heading downwards again. You can see the zone lines up right in between this 50% and 618 zone. So this was most likely going to be the following week's move. It might take 2 weeks for that to set up. And then, then we're looking to head back down for November, but obviously we'll deal with that when we come to it. So that is gold's breakdown. I don't see anything else. I mean, the momentum is very strong, so definitely looking towards the short side. Price is way below the 4 hour, the 1 hour, the 30-minute moving average. So as long as we get a bit of a retest, I'm happy with that. If we can test this little zone, create a few wicks on a 4 hour time frame, that'd be ideal. And then enter the short to 1810. So that's what I got on gold. Let me know what you guys want to see in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.